Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, this is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. There's Corey Tackman. Corey, we are going to talk a lot about the winter sports season as we put a bow on things for the 2025-26 season. We'll talk about our big moments that we enjoyed and talk a little Henning Hornet boys basketball at the state tournament and other highlights. But first, the biggest highlight of the day is always the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
It's baseball season, so Pizza Ranch is wondering, are you up for the Triple Play Challenge? Ooh, what do you think about that? FunZone Rewards members earn 1,000 free FunZone tickets when you play, buy, or reload 3 times by May 31st. Here's how you can earn a qualifying visit. You play. Stop by the FunZone to play your favorite games. You buy a new FunZone card at the FunZone or online. You reload your FunZone card at the FunZone or online. If you're not a FunZone Rewards member, just scan the QR code. You can see it on the screen. You can see it on the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade Facebook page. You can see it when you stop in person and join the FunZone Rewards to take advantage of this exclusive offer. 1 qualifying visit earned per 12 hours. 3 visits must be made at same FunZone location. Play and purchases must be made on a FunZone card registered to a FunZone Rewards account. Offer valid once per FunZone Rewards account. Qualifying visits must be made by May 31st, 2026. It's the Triple Play Challenge at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena.
Okay, Corey, we're recapping for a final time in 2026 or 2025-26 season. We're recapping some
basketball. Gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
Okay, so the Henning Hornets, they take 3rd place at the state boys basketball tournament. They finish with a record of 32-1 on the season. And they, despite the fact that they couldn't get to the championship game, top 3 in all of Class A, a pretty darn good finish for a pretty darn good Henning Hornet boys basketball team.
Yeah, a really good Henning Hornet boys basketball team. It was fun to watch them all season long, and you could feel this thing. There was an expectation for the Henning Hornets all season. It's actually pretty funny, CJ. You go back to the beginning of the year and you think about like, oh my goodness gracious, Pelican Rapids has moved into 6A, and what kind of section is this? What kind of juggernaut is this going to be? This team that comes out of Section 6A, and Henning just right out of the gate beat Pelican Rapids early. Beat Breckenridge during, like, they just kind of established themselves and maintained control of that conference and section all season long. So for them to get the payoff of a 3rd place finish, losing to the eventual champion, like, how can you not be thrilled? You get a winning record at the state tournament. You end your season on a win. I mean, you were there. Pretty special moment.
Pretty special moment. This Henning team really, when they got down there, really had some high expectations. And I mean, top 3 is still a pretty good spot to be at. And also, when you look at this team, I was talking with Coach Misagatis in our preview episode special last week, was that at what point in the season did you really feel like this could be a team that does something? And he said, well, we had 4 players coming in who didn't play at all last year. And how were he's like, they were good players, but they were stuck behind some other good players. So now that they were on the floor in their opportunity, there's no guarantee how this thing was going to look. He said, but there was a 4-game stretch in late December where they beat teams like Pillager, they beat Wahpeton, they beat Fergus Falls, a team that didn't have a win at the point that Henning played them, but ended up playing in a section championship game in their spot. So those were some big wins for Henning, all kind of in a row. And Coach Misagatis said, we kind of looked at each other and went, okay, like, I think we're going to be able to do something special here. And they were able to do that. An undefeated regular season, an undefeated section tournament, some big moments along the way. Kale Misagatis being a 2,000-point scorer, Kale Misagatis being the all-time leading scorer in Henning Hornet basketball history, regardless of boys or girls programs. Whatever boys basketball rebound there is. Kale probably has it. And to see that career come to a close, to see the career come to a close for guys like Bushman, to see a career come to a close for guys like Despard and other players on this team, they certainly went out on a high note. It was just really cool to see it all come together at the state tournament. Took care of business against Uppsala. That Hills Beaver Creek game, even though they didn't win, Corey, that's going to go down as a classic, and that's going to be a game that town of Henning won't forget for a while. Even though that they lost, there's still a lot of fun moments in that game you can look back on and smile, and then to not lose focus and to come back the next day, be resilient, and beat a very good Red Lake County team in the third place game to take home the third place honor. And, obviously teams finish the way that they are, but if you're Henning, you can maybe make the case that, hey, we were the second best team. That state championship game was the semifinal game with the way that Hills Beaver Creek took care of business against Janesville, Waldorf, Pemberton. So for that season to end for Henning, even though it didn't end in a state title, only one team in the entire class, only 4 teams in the entire state get to win their final game of the season. So when you look back on it, a pretty darn good year for Henning, and they're losing a great crew, but as we've learned with Henning basketball, they got some more guys waiting in the wings as well.
Well, there's a really kind of interesting thing that happens. First of all, you mentioned it. Like, there were guys who started on this team who basically didn't play varsity minutes at all on a state tournament team from a year ago. So that is something about the program. When you get to practice against a state tournament team every single day, you're ready for some of those challenges that come to you. Also, the Class A tournament, in my estimation, on the boys' side anyway, has been the most exhilarating tournament at state in state basketball for the past number of years. It is incredibly deep, and that bore itself out with Hills Beaver Creek, the 5 seed, winning the whole thing. So it is, from top to bottom, is a very close matchup. And then also, we've talked about this before in other years, and I think it's an important observation. One of those things I think the folks in Henning can take with them and be really proud of is that when the 1 seeds lose and have to go play in either a consolation bracket or play for a third place game, there's only 2 outcomes that come from it. And the majority outcome is they get really sad because they were the 1 seed, which meant it came with expectations of at least playing, if not winning, the state championship. And apathy sets in really hard in those kids. And they just, if a 1 seed loses in the semifinals, I would bet money almost in all instances that they would lose the third place game. I just would. You got to turn around and you got to play early the next morning. It's a really hard game to show some perseverance and some resilience. And the fact that the other option is you don't get sad, you get very, very angry, and you beat the pants off of whoever you play next. So I think that is a very telling indicator that Henning was able to win that third place game and show some perseverance and show some resilience and show some fortitude and show some stick-to-itiveness, whatever simile you want to throw in here or synonym you want to throw in here. That is as quality of a win, let alone the milestone of being third place. Like, to be able to bounce back after what was undoubtedly a disappointing loss, literally just the day before, to win that third place game is that is a challenging victory considering those circumstances.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about this after Henning lost that semifinal game, and we were kind of like, okay, what do we think of the Red Lake County Henning matchup and things like that? And we broached that topic as well. And just, we both know the coach that Coach Misagatis is, to know that he's going to make sure that doesn't happen with every fiber of his being. So for Henning to show that resiliency to come back and play shows pretty well.
I think, shout out Coach Misagatis, and he deserves all the credit in the world. But you're talking about 15 to 18-year-old kids who have to then believe it, and those boys did. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of times, man, where a lot of good coaches bring teams who give up on themselves because they're not going home this champion. And that's nobody's fault. That is not a fully formed frontal cortex.
Right. They are rightfully emotional in that spot. So
Yes.
as a, generally speaking. So anyway, to wrap up the state tournament discussion, Perham, they lost their first 2 games. They had to face Jackson County Central in the consolation semifinal, and they got to see why Roman Voss.
You're right.
Very nice player. And for Pequot Lakes, they take 3rd place as well. They were the 2 seed, had a hard-fought match against Minnehaha Academy, and then took care of business in the 3rd place game against, I believe it was Albany.
Pequot beat Albany in the 3rd place game.
Yep. And then to recap the tournament, obviously Hills Beaver Creek beats Janesville Waldorf Pemberton to take the Class A title. In the Class AA title, Minnehaha comes away with the championship. I believe Totino Grace had the 3A title, Corey.
Totino Grace beat De La Salle by 2 points. That was, I think, just a quick addendum to this. The 5 seed Hills Beaver Creek wins the Class A tournament.
Yep.
The 3 seed Minnehaha Academy wins the 2A tournament.
Yep.
And I know we're going to get there, but the 5 seed beat the 7 seed in the 4A tournament, Chaska over Apple Valley. The 3A tournament was the only one that kind of went chalk. Totino Grace was number 1 over De La Salle, number 2.
Yeah, and that just goes to show how great these teams are. And you could talk about seeding, you could talk about this, and in retrospect to the Class A, I think we talked about at the time, we were pretty clear, it wasn't a for sure thing Henning was going to get the 1, but when you look circumstantially, they came out of a tough section. They were undefeated. They're the only undefeated team, I believe, they earned the 1. And that Uppsala, probably just by the shape of the tournament and QRF and certain things like that, probably were your 8. But with that 2 through 7, there was so much margin of error. There's not little margin of error, I should say.
Clearly, it was 1 through 7.
Exactly. Yeah, there was not a lot separating any of these teams throughout the tournament. And by the way, for Uppsala, they took on a Southland team that almost came back and beat Hills Beaver Creek. Uppsala took that Southland team to overtime in the consolation semifinal. Everybody's good down here.
Turns out.
Everybody's good down here. So that was, you could talk about seedings, you could talk about placements and all that stuff. And the bracket works the way it works. But also, if you have a bunch of teams that are all right neck and neck with each other, ability-wise, well, then it just you just kind of are at the mercy of the way the ball bounces a little bit. And for Henning, if you have a couple shots go in a certain way, or if Hills Beaver Creek has a couple shots miss, or vice versa, that's something to look at. So anyway, putting a bow on that tournament, congratulations to Pequot Lakes, congratulations to Perham, congratulations to Albany, all of Alexandria area down in the tournament. They had a little welcome to 4A moment there as they lose both of their games, but also they have a great team. They have some great players, but definitely they don't have a Chase Thompson like they did a year ago, which helps out a lot.
Who does?
Yeah, exactly. Not a lot of teams do. Not a lot of teams have a guy that's going to go immediately play for a Division I NCAA tournament team in class.
Right. Be like a 6 seed.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, congratulations to Alexandria area as well. And that pretty much puts a bow on our state tournament coverage. I will at some point take a look at the winter sports and the top moments, because there was a lot of them through all of our activities. But just kind of for us on the radio side of things, Corey, as we wrap up today's show, it's cool. The opportunity to be down at the state tournament, the opportunity to cover the high intense section games. We talk about how they're almost more electric than state tournament games, if not more electric. The big regular season moments along the way. We'll break down those moments individually in a different episode, but it's just cool. And the opportunity to get to be in these gyms and to talk to these coaches and these players is not lost on us. I'll speak for you too, Corey. It's not lost on us to be in those opportunities and these spots. And it's just really cool that somebody gives us a microphone and allows us to come into these gyms.
I got into radio so I could call games. So it's the best. It's my favorite thing.
It's the best thing ever. And I'll just wrap up by saying it's not lost on me, the opportunity to get to go down and cover a state tournament back-to-back years, but also to get to cover a team that's coached by my uncle that has 2 cousins on the team. That's really, really cool. And for Kale, he's off to bigger things next year at the college level at Southwest Minnesota State. And it's really cool to get to have those games, to know that that's done. That's a chapter in the book that's closed, but still Easton's rolling around, and to have those high-level moments in the semifinal game. I'll appreciate it a little bit later on, I get, but just in the moment, that was really cool. If I can step out of my objective announcer spot, that was just really cool. and something that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do. And I hope it was entertaining to people who aren't me. But that was really cool. So it was a fun opportunity. Getting to go down to the barn is awesome. I love calling games at the barn. Got to call a game at Target Center with the old school Target Center floor. That reminded me of when I first went to Target Center, when Bertha Hewitt made the state tournament in 2004 and made a state semifinal game back when the semifinal and championship games were played at Target Center. So that was really cool, very nostalgic for me. And just to be down there and cover a state tournament is always awesome. So I appreciate the opportunity. It's not lost on me. And let's have another team from around the area make a state tournament in the baseball and softball season so we can continue to cover them.
And most importantly, speaking of which, now golf and track and field and baseball can have all of their players.
Exactly.
Now you guys
are happier than the OTC baseball program.
There's games today, by the way.
Baseball program is very happy to get some guys back. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of games today. Everybody is playing today.
Like the number one Perham Yellow Jackets might be happy to have some of those. I don't know what the crossover is, but by God, we get to get some of these guys in the cage again. Hallelujah.
He's going to have a nice baseball team like they always do, and they are excited to get Kale and some of those other guys back on the squad from Henning. So that's going to be helpful. It's going to be the Underwood Battle Lake Bulldogs today or whatever team they're playing. I don't think the arms are quite warmed up yet. So, yeah, no, everybody's playing today to get that game in. The rest of the week's going to stink. So go get that game in. And, it's going to do it. Morning and softball, by the way, Wadena Deer Creek playing games in Florida to get some games in, which is really, really cool. Track and field, obviously, has had a little bit of stuff going. Golf is trying to roll. Here we go.
He's playing Frazee at Minnetonka today.
Yes. Yeah.
They're going to play on some turf down there.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's getting rolling. So here we go. That's what happens when you push the state tournament back a week. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, there is no break. We are immediately into it.
Mm-hmm.
So there were teams that lost in the first round of section playoffs that were like, okay, well, next week is throwing for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It never ends, and that's the fun of it. So, all right, Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. We will see ya.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.